yeah, that time of night. So these reflections have been really helping me process and allow me to feel through things as well as just reflect on things. So that's real introspection. Some call it shadow work, and some people will call it doing the inner work, inner standing, all these different names that people have for this just being conscious about my thoughts and being mindful of ourselves. And I try not to live too much as like a nonchalant person or like a stoic way of living. You know, I do smile, I do laugh, and I have got feelings, you know. I'm a very loving man, and I have got a bit of a temper, but it's something that I do manage, or I try to at least, and when it does come out, I'll let it out in different ways, and I channel it through. I do my art and stuff like that, that helps, and obviously my poetry has been the main outlet for me. And I've written for years, I had written for years and not really shared my writing, and it's always been therapeutic without me even knowing that I was kind of journaling, because all my poetry is real and comes from a real place, from my experiences and my mindset and processes and the way I work. So I really do hope that for those who are trying to work through and process emotions, thoughts, feelings all together mixed up one, and trying to navigate them and how to get out of them and get through them, I hope that if you do find me and you find my reflections, that these help. And if they do, you can always leave a comment and stuff like that, or I don't know, send me a message on here, either on YouTube or on my Instagram or whatever. Find me there at Craig.B.Collins. I'm over there. I've got a blue tick on there. I've not got a blue tick on YouTube at the moment. This is brand new. But please do leave in the comments if this helps, and or if you'd like a better understanding of how I maybe process some things and could do with a nudge. No, man, I'm not trying to be a coach or anything. I'm just sharing my experiences, hoping that it'd help somebody else as much as it helps me. Not just think about things, but feel through the things that I think about. And hopefully me sharing this way is a way for someone else to get something from it, you know, as well as the other people who are not in that mindset get to understand a little bit about me and why I'm such a deep thinker, and why I probably seem like a really deep and stoic and nonchalant person, when really not always. My things that really distract me a lot, like I'm right next to my fish tank, so I'm looking at my snakehead fish and my pleco. I really want to take you off the stand. I'm going to take you off this just to have a look. Just spilt my tea as well to show you, but look, I don't know if you can see that. My snakehead is actually cuddling the pleco. Can you see? I don't know if you can see. I just spilt my tea as well, and I don't even mind. It's just it's already wet. The carpet's got some spray on it. But that's an example of how I still manage difficult things despite them being difficult. I just spilled a cup of tea down the carpet, and I've literally just scrubbed this carpet with carpet spray to show you something that really is healing for me. So I'm hoping that whoever sees any of my shorts and my reels and stuff like that, and some of my content, that you may get something from it. And like I said, if you do, leave a note in the comments. But this is me going back to what I was processing, is the times where I was stabbed in the first one was when I was 11 years old outside of a school in Old Bethnal Green Road, a school called Oaklands, and it was a crazy time. I was having problems with a lot of Southern Asian boys in the area, from that side. I think they were from like around the Columbia Road market area, and some of them were from like the Brick Lane area, I think. And I'm not even sure at this time, because it was so young. I was 11, you know. But it was just because I was a white kid on my own, and I wasn't from that side, you know. I was from the Roman Road, the market square, you know, and the Roman Road up in Bow, you know. So I was known as the Roman boy, yeah, Roman Road boy. You know, I weren't like that, but it's always been cliquey, you know how it is now, you know, it's always been like that really from them times. But school was a bit of a challenge for me to stay in anyway, because at the time I should have been in a different school, but I couldn't get in there because I hadn't done no SAT exams. My mother didn't care whether I went to school or not, and the social worker was always around the house anyways. At a time where it didn't matter whether you went to school or not, social services wouldn't get involved, but they was already involved by then anyway. And it was just after I'd watched my mother stab my half-sibling's dad. It was wild, it was. I was standing there in the hallway watching her skits at him. She was pregnant at the time. I think it was 1999. And it's in the front room of our new block that we was in. The tower block on the corner of Victoria Park, Old Bethnal Road. A block called Lakeview. Yeah. And this is all common knowledge, it's all out there anyway. After that, he'd shortly went to prison. The man did, and my half-sibling's dad. And he was already married and had kids, this geezer. But he got 18 years in the end, he did. And I was always frustrated at my mother for always choosing drug dealers and criminals and launderers and that. I thought, why you just can't find a normal fucking fella, I don't know. It was always, don't worry, I'll get a rich boyfriend, you'll have a brother or sister and life will be better. And I literally heard that my whole fucking life, that line. But she was having a row, I think it was just after he said, I don't want nothing to do with you and this kid, and she was big belly pregnant, so she was super fucking emotional, you know. And I was just standing here in the argue, I come out in the bedroom, and she had, I just watched her go, pop. She stuck a kitchen knife right in his heart as well. And he slid down the wall, and she just stormed off past me, left the front door swinging and fucked off. And it was like a couple of weeks before I was due to go to my first school, because I hadn't been going to school for ages because life was fucking turbulent. And it was just after she'd come back from 2 holidays with him, after leaving me at home alone again. And that was another thing I couldn't understand as well, because after the first holiday that I'd spoken about on my last reflection, where she'd left me in a hotel room to run off with men, she'd always promised me that the next time we have an holiday, it'll be better and all the rest of it. And here's her again going on holidays, but leaving me alone in this flat at the age of around 10 and 11, because it was 99, because my half-sibling was born in 1999, and she was pregnant, and it was just before then, it was happening. So I must have been around the age of 10 or 11, and I was being left in the country, left in the UK, on my own in a flat, at that age while she was on holidays with this man who was already married to someone, and she was basically his, look good in his arm while he's doing business out there kind of thing. Yeah, like I said, he ended up with 18 years, that man did. This is all common knowledge, by the way. I think he's out of prison. Fuck knows what happened to him. Couldn't care less. He's irrelevant anyway. This is the story of me seeing things a bit too early and having to grow up fucking fast and having my wits about me is the reason why I share these reflections, so you can understand why I've always had to be super on guard, you know. So being at home and trying to feel safe and stable, and even seeing my mum pregnant, this man's married, and I can hear everything because they're telling me, and she'd tell me in private, and she's stabbing him in front of me, you know. So she ran off and left him sliding down while he's throwing money at me, telling me call him a fucking cab rather than an ambulance. He was weird, he was. But it was only about 2 weeks after that I'd finally got into a school, when I should have been in school in the first place already. The school term had already started, and I was sent to Oaklands instead of the Rains Foundation, or Morpeth is where I wanted to go, which was just off the Roman Road, off the Market Square, where we were actually from, Roman Road Market Square. And it's just off a Globe Road, which is where my Uncle Nutty's pub was, the Railway Tavern, and he lived down the Rogers, we lived on the Suttons. And my aunt had a hairdresser's just there. It was called Samantha's Salon, next to Mary's. Little Mary's was the corner sweet shop, and next to it you had Samantha's Salon. that was my aunt. It's my mother's sister. It was her hairdressers. And that's the school I wanted to go to. But for some unknown reason, she put me in Oakland. And I didn't get it. But there was a big Southern Asian community there. Bangladeshis, if you don't know what that means. And I'm from Tower Hamlets. It's mainly a Bangladeshi area. And there was always friction through the years from the older generation, from the 80s, from like the people who were like my age in the 80s, up to the 90s and 2000s, where the drugs came into the East End properly. You know, the club life was happening, and also the heroin trade and crack cocaine trade started happening then. And I'm not saying that the Southern Asian community are responsible for that by any means. A little disclaimer there. I'm just saying it was around the time that was happening. So there was obviously views on immigration, as there always has been, and also the Pakistani community and the Bengali community was always misconstrued amongst each other because they didn't quite get on. I'll have you know, Bengalis, Southern Asian Bengalis, and the Pakistanis never got on to start with. Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that, but they do now. It's common knowledge. But then it was, people were blasé to it, didn't really care. So I'd be dragged around pubs and stuff like that, being in that kind of culture from my mother, and she was a barmaid, and my uncle being a publican, and just being around pubs, it was normal for the East End kids, you know. Well, most white kids from the East End. And so obviously I've been a white boy from the Market Square and the Bengali community and rifts and older people, being around adults all the time, not having no siblings or father. Obviously there's always views, weren't there? Misconstrued views at the time. And so they'd always say he's racist if I didn't get on with anyone that wasn't, you know, if they was white and I had an argument, it wouldn't be no problem. But if there was Bengali and you was black or white and they were Bengali, you are racist. That's what you used to get, you know. It's a different now because we grew up, become friends with quite a lot of Bengali boys, you know. In fact, some of my best mates growing up were the Bengali boys. They were better to me than some of the white and black kids, I'll tell you that much, you know. If you know, you know, boys. I know you probably see it. Some of you will see this and see it, you know. You know you are. And, I didn't get on with my class very well straight away. So I was late to come into class. And I didn't quite fit in, so I stuck out like a sore thumb anyway. And I was the only white child in that class. I'm not even joking. The whole form was Bengali. Apart from, I think there was a few other kids that wasn't. There was a few mixed race kids. 2 of them were from my school. One was a girl, one was a boy. In fact, I still talk to them now. You know who you are. I won't mention your names. And yeah, and they was in my class, but the boys just didn't get on with me straight away. I always had to stand my ground and stuff like that, and having to have my wits about me, like I said to you before. So I got into a lot of arguments and fights with these boys, and I was only in the school about 4 or 5 days, I think, before one of the nights I had to go to an outside of school meeting, and my mother didn't come with me. I went by myself, which was not good, because some of the older boys had come with the younger ones to the school to obviously be talking about things, and outside it got into a bit of a sticky argument on the Old Bethnal Green Road, and these older boys pulled a knife on me. And it wasn't even the young kids, because they were like 11 and 12. We're just in year 7, so we're like 11 years old. And these boys were about 15 or 16. Some of them were riding mopeds and stuff like that, so they were older and in cars. And me being me, I've always had this thing, I look death right in his eye, you know. I don't really mind. I'd seen too much as a child at home anyway. Some of those experiences I'd be sharing more too. And after seeing my mum stab someone, it was just normal for me. I didn't care anymore. And the boy had been giving it to me, and I got into a scuffle, and I got the best of him, and I got the best of another. So I got the best of 2, and the older one didn't like it. And then he wanted to scuffle me, and I got into a scuffle with him. And it was tough, because he's a big boy, you know. I'm 11 and he's 15, as you could imagine. It's different. So I got my strength out of him. I was boxing at the time, just started boxing, or thinking about going into boxing at the time. And so I'd always be fit and on the go, and the boy got really upset and he was getting goaded by the other older boys, and he got frustrated and he pulled out a knife. He had a kitchen knife, and he was shouting and hollering in Bengali, some of it slang too, and he ran towards me. When I stood my ground, I didn't run off, and he was shouting at me, and he ran over to me, and as he was running over to me, this is crazy, this is true, he fell over as he got close to me, because I thought, if he's going to do me, I thought at least I'll let him do me and I'll get hold of him, I thought, and I thought I'd try, if I bested these two and I bested it, this is my mindset, I'm thinking fight or flight, I'm thinking if I'm going to go, I'm going to go. It was normal for me, you know, I'm thinking, so I did, I stood my ground, you know, I thought if I'm going to take it, I take it, and I did, you know, but as he come towards me, he fell over, and he stabbed me, and he went in my leg, went in my trousers, and he fell over and left it hanging out the trachea bottoms, and I looked down like that, and he was on the floor, and he looked up like that, and I was already like thinking what that, and I was looking around me and I was thinking, am I going to get done here? And my adrenaline was pumping up crazy, and I grabbed it, and I grabbed the knife out of the trachea bottom leg, and I did, and trigger warning, I'll put that I ended up, I stabbed him with the same knife, you know, crazy. So nothing ever come of it. In the end, it was all documented and stuff. Police had arrested me hours later. I was on film and stuff like that, running wild, and I'd gone home and covered in blood and stuff like that. It was just a wild time, you know. And it was really an eye opener for me of how I'd overcome that was another feat. My mind's racing right now. That's why it may seem a bit sporadic and all over the shop, this film, but that was the first time that had happened to me. Yeah, 11 years old. So a lot of people couldn't fathom that and how that had happened, and that's how that had happened, you know. And that was the start of that kind of road and way of being for me, you know, for a few years. Until I'd went into care and eventually went to prison. At the age of 14, I went to prison. 13, turning 14, I was in the Old Bailey. Yeah, I think I'll leave that for another reflection, I think. I'm aware of the time here, it's like 17 minutes. So that was a crazy time in my life, just seeing stabbings, and these are the reasons I'm able to remain calm in chaos now, because it was early for me to experience these things, you know. It's not like a badge of honour. I don't wear it like valor. I just speak about it because it's my truth or my experience, you know, and these things happen, and sometimes I don't always get to say these are the things that were happening, because at those times, like 1999, it was a different time, you know. Yeah. Life be lifing, you know. So I never ended up staying in that school, obviously, and I ended up in Morpeth in the end for a little while, until I went to the children's homes fully, and I think I'll leave that for another video, because I don't want to sit here and overthink and go off onto a tandem, because I'll be here all night, but just thinking and feeling through that process and speaking it out is helpful for me, and maybe not so helpful to some of you who have got this far, because it can be a bit daunting hearing stories like this, and I'm seeing it as from a truthful position, not just like in a film or some made up role or some documentary or whatever. This is just me talking my truth. And if you've made it this far, again, I say thank you, man, and I hope that my reflections are going to help some of you, and also, you know, help you understand a little bit about Craig and why I'm so deep. Sometimes I can seem really deep and stoic and nonchalant and all these other fucking words that people like to label everyone with nowadays. I'm just simply a man just figuring it out, just knowing that life be lifing. Whether you're on your own or you're trouble and strifing, it is what it is, you know. Nonchalant seems to be the gig, just making up poetry now as we go along. That's why poetry comes out of me, you know. But yeah, thanks for staying. And drop a comment if you like to, and drop a like and share it with anybody else that you think might need to hear it and who might need to understand the strength and the courage to still go on despite the challenges that they've been through, and that you're not on your own. And if you always feel, you know, alone, or you feel that you're not able to speak and express yourself well without managing yourself, then don't hesitate to leave a comment or private message me. You can get me on Instagram on @Craig.B.Collins. There's a picture of me, you see the hat, so I've always got a black hat on, and you know it's my profile, and you can DM me there, and obviously I'm not saying we'll be best buddies or anything like that, but I may be able to help you, or you may even be able to help me with some things, who knows, you know, we help each other, that's what it should be for, you know. But again, I say thank you for staying. If you haven't subscribed, then consider subscribing. Give me a like, give it a share the profile of others that may want to see it, and yeah, thanks for being here. Like I said, Craig's Corner, and it's my reflection, it's my night tonight, and take it easy, man.